Nobody in the Wild West had ever seen anything like it before. Not in Texas, not in Arizona, not even in the blood-soaked frontier towns where legends were born and buried beneath desert dust. People would later call it impossible. Some called it madness. Others called it a miracle. But every person who witnessed that day in the town of Red Mercy remembered it for the rest of their lives. Because for the first time in Wild West history, an outlaw walked willingly into town to surrender himself for crimes he did not commit. And he smiled while doing it. The story began during the hottest summer Red Mercy had ever seen. The town baked beneath endless sunlight while dust storms rolled across the empty plains like ocean waves. Red Mercy was a dangerous place. Gunfighters wandered its streets. Gamblers cheated desperate men. Sheriffs sold justice to the highest bidder. And survival mattered more than morality. At the center of town stood the hanging post, a tall wooden structure stained dark from years of death. Every traveler entering Red Mercy saw it first. That was intentional. Fear kept towns under control. Sheriff Wallace Boone understood that better than anyone. Boone ruled Red Mercy with cruelty hidden behind a polished badge. He drank expensive whiskey while poor families starved outside town. He arrested innocent men when rich ranchers demanded it. And anyone who challenged him usually disappeared before sunrise. Nobody dared stand against him. Nobody except one man. A stranger. His name was Cole Maverick. He arrived in Red Mercy just before sundown riding a tired black horse beneath a sky glowing red like fire. People noticed him immediately, not because he looked dangerous, but because he looked calm. Too calm. Most men entering Red Mercy carried fear in their eyes. Cole carried peace. He wore an old brown duster covered in desert dust. A revolver rested low on his hip, but his hand never moved near it. The saloon piano stopped playing when he entered town. Old men watched from porches silently. Women pulled children aside. Even Sheriff Boone narrowed his eyes from across the street. Cole tied his horse outside the church instead of the saloon. That alone confused people. Outlaws visited whiskey before prayer. But Cole walked quietly toward the church doors carrying a small wooden box beneath one arm. Inside the church, Father Benjamin cleaned candle holders near the altar. The old priest looked up nervously. "We don't get many visitors in the mall." Cole removed his hat respectfully. "I'm not here to stay long." Father Benjamin noticed the exhaustion in the stranger's face. "You injured?" "Just tired." The priest nodded slowly. "Most men who come here are." Cole placed a wooden box carefully beside the altar. "What's inside?" the priest asked. Cole looked at it silently for a moment. "Money." Father Benjamin blinked. "What kind of money?" "The kind stolen from poor people." The old priest stared in confusion. Cole continued quietly. "There's enough there to feed every hungry family in town for months." Father Benjamin stepped backward slowly. "Who are you?" Cole smiled faintly. "Man trying to fix something." Outside, news spread quickly through Red Mercy. A mysterious cowboy had arrived carrying gold. By nightfall, the entire town whispered about him. Inside the saloon, Sheriff Boone sat drinking beside wealthy ranch owner Clyde Turner. "You think he's stupid enough to carry that kind of money openly?" Turner asked. Boone's eyes narrowed. No man rides into Red Mercy without a reason. One of Boone's deputies entered hurriedly. "Sheriff." "What?" The stranger gave the church gold. The room grew silent. Boone frowned. "How much?" "Thousands." Turner nearly choked on his drink. "For the church." The deputy nodded. "And for poor families." Boone laughed coldly. "Well now." He stood slowly. "Looks like our town found itself a fool." That night, poor families gathered outside the church in disbelief as Father Benjamin distributed food and coins. Children who hadn't eaten properly in weeks smiled for the first time in months. Mothers cried quietly. Old men removed their hats respectfully toward the stranger sitting alone beside the church steps. Cole asked for nothing in return. No praise, no payment, no attention. And somehow that unsettled Sheriff Boone more than violence ever could. Good men were dangerous, especially in places ruled by fear. Near midnight, Boone approached Cole outside the church. The sheriff studied him carefully. "You buying loyalty?" Cole looked toward the hungry families. "Just helping. There's easier ways to help. Not for people like them." Boone lit a cigar slowly. You know what happens to strangers who cause trouble in Red, Mercy? Cole finally looked directly at him. No, they disappear. Silence hung heavily between them. Then Cole smiled slightly. Guess that depends who's looking. Boone's hand twitched near his revolver, but something about the stranger bothered him deeply. Cole didn't act afraid, not even a little, and men without fear were unpredictable. The next morning, something unbelievable happened. Cole walked through town giving away nearly every coin he still carried. He paid debts for struggling farmers, bought medicine for sick children, repaired roofs for widows. Even gamblers stopped cheating for one afternoon out of sheer confusion. Nobody understood why a stranger would sacrifice everything for people he didn't know. Rumors spread rapidly. Some claimed Cole was dying. Others whispered he used to be rich. But the truth was stranger than all of it. Years earlier, Cole Maverick had been one of the most feared bounty hunters in the frontier. He hunted men for money, sometimes guilty, sometimes not, as long as someone paid enough. And over time, innocent blood stained his hands. One night during a bounty chase near New Mexico, Cole accidentally killed a farmer protecting his son. The dying man's final words haunted him forever. You became worse than the men you hunt. That sentence destroyed something inside Cole. He abandoned bounty hunting immediately. For years afterward, he wandered the frontier trying desperately to help people instead of hurting them. But guilt followed him everywhere. Red Mercy was supposed to be his final stop, because hidden inside the wooden church box wasn't just stolen gold. There were documents too,